Hey guys, I'm Emily from the Blue Mouse, and today I'm going to show you how to make a giant pom-pom. I use this method to make this pom-pom here, and I have this second hat that I would like to make one for as well. So this tutorial is going to show you how to use a large Clover Pom Pom maker to make an oversized pom-pom. For this tutorial, I'm using 2 strands of bulky roving wool yarn, carrying them at the same time, but you can use pretty much any yarn that you would like for this tutorial. It works best if you carry 2 strands of bulky yarn at the same time, but you could carry 2 or 3 strands of worsted weight yarn, or more yarn the thinner you go down, and less yarn the bulkier you go. So if you've got like a super chunky yarn, you'll only need 1 strand. You won't need to carry 2 at the same time. Okay, so let's get started. You take 1/2 off, like this. You're going to pick up your yarn. You can hold a little bit of it out, and then just start wrapping it around. You don't have to get it all super close together initially, because you can just slide it back down. Slide it back down, and you just keep doing this until you have your first layer laid down. Alright, so that's probably about as full as I can get it right there. So then, you're just going to create the second layer by going back over this layer. So you just go back the other way, and you want to lay your pieces down as close to each other as possible without overlapping, because you can't slide them back like you could with the first layer. So just keep going all the way to the end. And then it might seem like overkill, but we're going to start and go back again for a third time. To make it even chunkier, we're going to go back for a 4th and final time on this half. So go back again, trying to get them lined up as close together without overlapping. They'll definitely overlap in the middle here, but as far as the outside, you want to keep them as close together without overlapping as you can. Alright, so now we have 4 layers here, and you're just going to close this half, and then you can cut yourself a tail. Pull out the other half, and you're going to do the exact same thing. So again, you can hold a little bit of it while you get started. So just keep wrapping it around and just slide it back for this first layer. And you're just going to keep doing it until you reach the end. And then we're going to go back in the other direction. So this time you can't slide it, so you just want to lay them as close together until you get to the end. Alright, now we're going to go back the other end again for a 3rd time. This is going to feel like overkill, but this is how you obtain that really fluffy, oversized pom-pom. And then we go back for a 4th and final row. Alright, when you're done with that, you just close it, and you can cut your tail here. And And then you're just going to take your scissors and go in between here. There's a little ridge in the maker specifically for your scissors, and just cut. It'll be a little bit difficult to cut all those strands, so just take your time with it. So you've done the first half, and you just slide it over and start on the second half. Alright, so you're all done. And now you take a piece of scrap yarn. I like to use scrap yarn with roving wool, because if I were to try and tie it off with a piece of the roving, it would probably snap in half. So I like to use something a little bit sturdier, so I'm going to be using a piece of scrap acrylic yarn. And there's this ridge here in the maker. You're just going to wrap the piece of yarn that you're going to tie it together with around that ridge. So you can have it meet up on either side. Then you're going to tie a knot. So here I have my knot, and then just pull on either side. I'm going to be pulling it kind of tight, then flip it to the other side and tie another knot. And you can pull it together again. And I do this a third time after flipping it again, just to kind of make sure it's extra secure. So tie a knot again and pull through. So now you can just kind of undo this by pulling these halves off, and then pull the other halves open. And then you just remove these two parts. Bring these two strands of yarn together, which you're going to hold the pom-pom by, and then just fluff it. So obviously you have pieces like this that need to be trimmed. So I fluff it again after cutting off the really long tails. And then just trim back any pieces that seem to be sticking out too long. If you're a perfectionist, this is where you're gonna slow down and get caught up in that. But essentially, once you're done trimming it back, then you're all set to use your pom-pom. You can attach it to a hat or use it as decoration for something. But either way, that is how you make a giant pom-pom. If you want to see a video on how to attach this to a knit hat, I'm filming that one next, and it will be up on the YouTube channel as well.